to talk about sustainability and how Dean got into that. And so what do you think of as sustainability, and what does that really mean?
Well, I see sustainability in a very holistic fashion, because in working for the last 30 years in all the countries I work in and with all the indigenous groups I work with, they don't separate, as we do often, the environment from social life, from political life, from the natural world, from their relationship with it. It's all one. And so in our country, unfortunately, we so categorize things. So organics originally began as a movement that was a very holistic movement, but as it's become more bureaucratized in some aspects by larger multinationals, not local organic growers, this same sense of disconnect between the holistic vision of organics and sort of the consumeristic vision of organics has taken over. So for me, sustainability is holistic and multifaceted. So when we work in some of the 14 countries we work in, we address the environmental issues, we address the deeper ecological issues, the water pollution issues, not related to coffee, but the ones that the villagers have to deal with. We address creating jobs or generating income besides the income that comes from coffee, which will never be enough, even at fair trade prices, to bring people out of poverty. We have to, you just can't go in there, give someone a little more money and say, well, that's the end of that, I'm done, which unfortunately is already evolving in the fair trade world as the larger companies get into it. So the short answer again is it's a much more holistic approach than a label or, the set of necessary standards that we follow in organics.
I met someone at an organic farming conference. She was from Colombia, living in Jackson Heights, New York. And we were talking about organic, and she used the word naturally grown. And I thought to myself, yes, organic is naturally grown. She said she didn't even want the label organic because for some farmers, they can't afford to pay for that certification. So don't be fooled by the labels. Always ask people. If you're like at a farmer's market or in a store, ask them how it was grown if you're at least a bit confused.
I have to agree with you, but I have to get a little controversial.
Yeah, please.
Okay, because one of the blowbacks, one of the way that the mainstream food industry is fighting back against organics is to use the natural label. And it's interesting, just last week I read a survey on a food site I'm on, an industrial food site, and it said that something like 75% of the consumers thought that natural was a higher standard than organic. And so the companies, media people are doing a really good job of fooling people into thinking that, because natural has no definition. So I think when I meet farmers, coffee farmers who struggle with organics because of the price, we talk about, well, that's true, there's a certification fee, but because you get 20 cents more at least for the pound of coffee, the certification fee is covered easily, because all of the farmers I work with, small co-ops of 200 families and large co-ops of 80,000 people, Peru and Ethiopia, all of them are organic and all of them are benefiting. So it's not the people who are organic who are complaining about it, it's the people who aren't and either don't want to pay for it, don't want to stop using chemicals, or have some other reason or some other projection onto organics as to why they won't do it. But there's really no reason economically or otherwise that any farmer shouldn't consider organics anywhere in the world.
Well, what I'm saying is there are people who are growing organically. And growing organically really means naturally grown. But when you do find a label in the store and it says natural, and right next to it is a product that says organic, I would always buy, and I would always recommend that you buy the one that's organic. But as a farming practice, I'm talking about naturally grown is what organic is. But don't be fooled by a natural label, because that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I heartily agree.
Yeah, and actually it's even time to go beyond the labels for things like organic, Rainforest Alliance, bird friendly, all of it. It's really hard but important for consumers, if they care to and if they can take the time, you can do it on the web, to try to find out from that company what's actually going on behind it.
Yes.
Because many companies use the fair trade label generically to represent their company, But the fair trade label is not a company. Companies aren't fair trade certified. Product is fair trade certified. So when you see a company that's got a full-page advertisement in the New York Times or Utne Reader, and it has the fair trade logo and it says, our fair trade coffee, blah, 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 it leaves the impression that the company is a fair trade company. And that's a very conscious marketing gimmick that companies do. I mean, I know this because I'm in the industry. I talk to people about this. But the labels are really about the product. So people have to remember that. A company can have one organic product and 100 non-organic products, right? 1 or 2 fair trade coffees and 98 non-fair trade coffees. And basically what that means from the company's point of view is that they're filling a room full of 100 farmers and saying, okay, you and you, we're going to pay fair trade prices to. The other 98, sorry, get out of here. How do you justify that? Right. So when you're doing organics as a company or fair trade as a company, it can't be reduced to just a product line. It's an ethical commitment, and it has to go through the entire company. And there are plenty of companies who are 100% fair trade or 100% organic, but my Jewish mother, God rest her soul, would have said, "See, it's true."
Yes, absolutely.
That's a Queens thing. It's a New York Jewish thing. Yeah. So it's important to find out what the company represents as well.
Absolutely.